So I went out and interviewed dropshippers who have made millions of dollars and asked them how they did it. Douglas does over $1 million per month from his stores. Susan and Steven went from dropshipping to starting their own multi-seven-figure brand. And Jason owns a big dropshipping sourcing business. 3 different perspectives, and if you're looking to start an e-commerce brand, I really think that everything we're talking about today in this video, it's gonna be super, super useful. So let's go. So can you introduce yourself, your age, and then what you do?
My name is Douglas. I'm 24 years old, and I've been doing dropshipping for about 5 years now.
So how did you first get into dropshipping?
I went to college for business. Within about a year and a half, I flunked out. When I got back home, basically my dad gave me an ultimatum, and he was like, all right, you have 1 year to figure something out, or you're either going back to school or you're getting a job. So yeah, I came across a video on YouTube, got obsessed with dropshipping, and it took me about 8 months before I found any success, but yeah, that's how I got started.
So those first 8 to 9 months,
Yeah.
how much money did you lose?
I initially got into dropshipping with a few $1,000s that I made from basically reselling streetwear. I would put money into a store, make some money, invest it into another store. One thing led to another. I was $11,000 in debt.
What are some of your numbers today? Because I think it's super inspiring.
First 2 years that I did dropshipping, I was able to do a little bit over 3 million in revenue by myself. And recently I partnered up with a friend of mine. We're on track to do about 13, 14 million by the end of this year.
How much is that per day?
Our biggest day to date would be $360,000 in revenue.
What did you guys do to actually start making a lot more the second half?
For the first 2 quarters of the year, we didn't test enough products. What really changed was we just ramped up our volume. We tested more products, we tested more creatives, and we just grew our team to be able to support that.
Okay, so first, I know a lot of people might be a little skeptical because those are some big numbers. Can you show us your phone or?
Yeah, I could.
Okay.
So this is one store that we're working on. This is our main store.
Nice. Those are some big numbers.
This is the second store that we're working on this year. This one's a little bit of a baby, but
That's great. Yeah, thanks for showing us that because I know a lot of people are like, there's no way people make that much money online, right?
if you look at the graphs, like the first half of the year, we weren't doing that well. We basically had an emergency meeting where we looked at each other and we were like, we got to grind for the last half of the year, right? And so we basically locked ourselves in 6 months, working anywhere from 40 to 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
Those were the results that came from it.
What type of ads do you guys run?
We're mainly running UGC style creatives on Facebook and Instagram ads. We're doing maybe like 80% Facebook and Instagram right now, and then like 20% TikTok.
Can you give us some advice on that?
UGC seems to be the trend right now. People just like seeing marketing that doesn't look like it's marketing immediately when you watch it, right? So it's a lot of storytelling is what I would say. If you can bring people on a journey and then sell to them while you're doing it, but do it in a way where it's not obvious that you're selling to them, you'll always make money.
Can you tell us about a time where you tested something and it didn't work out and what you learned from it?
There was actually a dry period where I moved to New York and I didn't make any money from dropshipping. What I did was I basically removed myself from the comfortable situation that I was in. I was still at home with my parents. I took a trip to New York, got an apartment for a year and a half out there, and basically just put my back against the wall and figured it out. So my advice would be bet on yourself and basically just show up every day. And if you're persistent with it, you'll figure it out.
Can you share with the audience, like, what does that do for your mindset and your work ethic and all that stuff?
When you stay home and you're kind of in the same hometown, you see the same people, you do the same things, it breeds a level of comfort that makes you sort of accept whatever your situation is, right? And so when you put yourself in a new environment, you're more forced to explore new ideas and grow as an individual. And when you sort of, do something like get an apartment, then you have more of an incentive now to make money, more pressure. Yeah, exactly.
What's a mistake that a lot of people do when they get started dropshipping?
Information overload. So there's a lot of information online with different gurus online teaching you how to do dropshipping. So my advice would be to pick one strategy and stick with it for a while and not get sidetracked.
Day 0, right? You're starting out with your knowledge right now.
Yeah.
What would you do for the first 180 days?
So I would start by doing a lot of research into different niches and industries. Basically, you're looking for holes in the market where you can come in and do something better than the competition. And the key thing that I would do is actually figure out a way to put in a feedback loop system into the way that you test. So you need to take action by coming up with a hypothesis. Is this going to work? Is this not going to work? And then when you test it, you can figure out whether or not it works and then readjust your strategy based on that.
What's your daily schedule like?
So I try to wake up around 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. I'll immediately start work. I'm not a big believer in morning routines too much. I'll typically be done around noon, and from there, I'll just have the rest of the day to do whatever I want.
What are some of your favorite tools, software, websites that you guys use in your business?
ClickUp for team task management, Notion for just storing all of our databases, anything data related. We use Air.inc for storing creatives. I've been using a tool called Akiflow, which basically takes, all of those things and kind of puts it into one place.
What are the good and bad parts of the dropshipping lifestyle?
Freedom, but also lack of freedom. Freedom in the sense that because you're working from your laptop, you can kind of travel, be in any location you want, and still make money. But with that comes the need for discipline, right? And if you don't have discipline, then it's very easy for your business to slip sometimes. So there's always like pressure to kind of push for more.
Do you have any final advice for the audience? Should they do dropshipping? Should they not?
Dropshipping is one of the best ways to get into business if you don't have a lot of starting capital, but that doesn't mean that you should get into it with no starting capital. I think you'll have a lot more success if you have money to work with because you're not stressed about, maybe I spend $200 here and that's like all the money that I have to test the product. So having capital to start would be the best way to go about it.
Thank you so much. So what are your names, your ages, and what do you guys do?
My name is Steven. I'm 23 and I run e-commerce businesses and a software company.
My name is Susan. I'm 22 and I own a brand called Private Paradise.
So can we get a tour of your guys' whole office place?
Yeah, come on in.
Let's go.
Yeah, this is where we come to hang out once in a while. In here, this is our
Warehouse that
packing
stores
area.
most of our apparel, 1,200 square feet.
This is where the magic happens. All the Christmas presents are delivered on this table.
Wow.
You can see here we have all of these sections. This is all sectioned off by individual product SKU. In this room, this is where the bulk of our jewelry is stored.
So what's been the best part about having your own space like this?
More control for sure, because we used to actually work with a third-party fulfillment center. We wouldn't know if our orders were being shipped. There would always be delays.
Can I see one of your guys' products?
Yeah. This is one of our earrings. It's a TXT earring for the K-pop fans out there who might recognize this.
This is a necklace I actually just designed. It's our Paradise necklace, and on the back it comes with a quote, which is from a BTS song called Paradise.
That's so cool that you guys have the space at such a young age. So
Thank
that's
you.
really impressive.
Thank you.
Can you tell me about like the story of how you guys got started at such a young age?
Yeah, so for me, I started my first online business when I was 12. I was running Minecraft servers and I would sell in-game perks through a platform called Engine. And I made $10,000 when I was just 12 years old. When I was 17, I started a business selling fidget spinners, did like $300,000 in revenue doing that. In college, I started a dropshipping store and we sold designer toys.
So I started my business when I was 17 back in 2019. That's when I was learning different programs like Adobe Illustrator because I knew I needed to know Vector to design products. And so eventually that led me to release my first product, which was just like an AirPods case. And then I decided to design a jewelry collection. I did a drop and I made $20K within like the first hour, and that was more than I had made in the past 6 months. And so that's what made me realize, like, if I take this seriously, like, this could really be something.
I think a lot of people watching this, they want to maybe do something similar. What would you tell them? How can they get started?
My first e-commerce business, I was selling fidget spinners and I went on Alibaba, spent $50 and I got 20 units of fidget spinners and I just hand shipped it myself. So I think the biggest thing that you need to do is learn marketing because of all the businesses I failed, the biggest issue that came to me was a lack of distribution. Okay. I didn't know how to sell something and I didn't know what customers wanted either.
A lot of people get stuck on like the education phase where they spend a lot of time researching and learning but not actually doing. So I'd say you have to take action and do it.
What should people not do to be successful?
Not taking enough risks, especially when you're young. This is the best time of your life to take as many risks as possible. For me, when I made $10,000 when I was 12, 95% of that money, I lost it all. I was able to afford taking that risk because I was so young. So when you're young, take those risks and be willing to lose 100% of your money because it might seem like a lot in the moment, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot of money you're gonna make, especially if you're taking the risk and learning every time.
Do you guys want to share some of the numbers?
To date, I think we've done just over $4 million in the past like 3.5 years.
The beginning of 2021.
So you guys have more of like a brand. What's the difference between what you guys do versus drop shipping?
With drop shipping, it's more so like of a white label situation where you'll find an existing product and then brand it as your own. Whereas with a brand or like say Private Paradise, we design everything completely custom made. There isn't anything that's like really similar out there. And I think that actually gave us a nice edge.
What makes you guys so successful at such a young age?
We are just doers. We like to get things done quickly and we don't wait around too long to act on ideas.
I would say also our passion for Private Paradise specifically. I feel like if I didn't have a passion for K-pop and BTS and all of these groups that inspire my products, I probably would have stopped or like gave up at many different points just because it got so hard hard on me.
Building on that, the passion thing for people that are watching this video, if they have a passion and they want to sort of monetize it, do you have any advice for them?
I would say first find out if your passion has an existing community. Say if you're passionate about skincare, like what is the community surrounding that? The BTS community and K-pop community, we're just a passionate group of fans and we all share, the same passion for the same things.
Yeah.
The easiest way to start is just by trying to sell a service or a mentorship to a friend, right? Say you're a really good tennis player, you can just go to your friend and be like, hey, I'll teach you tennis for X amount. You need to learn how to sell, and that's the number one most essential skill especially in e-commerce.
Any final advice you want to give the audience?
I would say work smart, don't make bad decisions when you start making money. Just keep going until you find something, because it's not easy. I've heard of people who've tested hundreds of products and haven't hit a single one, but the one that they did hit, they make it really big. Every failure is a lesson, and it's not an actual failure.
I would say if something's on your mind, like making a business or just doing something entrepreneurial, it's on your mind for a reason. And just the fact that you're curious about it and you want to do it is kind of enough for you to just get started.
Thank you guys so much. So what's your name, age, and what do you do for a living?
My name is Jason. I'm 26 and I am a supplier to a lot of e-commerce brands.
Can you tell us more about your business?
Yeah, so I run a business called Saucy, and we're essentially an extension of your product team. So think of it as if you're a business owner that sell products online, but you don't have a robust product team, we essentially plug that into your business.
And can you tell us about your journey in entrepreneurship? I know you used to do e-commerce and drop shipping, right?
When I was 14 years old, I started my first e-commerce brand. I was selling apparel online. And after that business took off, I moved to California and met a lot of other business owners. And from that journey, I realized that a lot of people have problems with their suppliers, with their products, because of the barrier of entry, just going to an international market, but also the language barrier. And so me coming from Hong Kong, speaking Chinese, I was able to bridge that gap by helping my friends at first with their supply chain, and then eventually productizing it to everyone else.
What's a big mistake that a lot of people that do dropshipping make when it comes to finding a supplier?
One is they don't get reference checks. They just find whoever that they can find online. It's a hit or miss. It's like hiring people or it's like dating. You really got to make sure you do a lot more checks between that.
Yeah, I think a big thing with dropshipping is a lot of people think the products are just going to be super inferior. How do you make sure they're not, and how do you make sure that the products that your customers are getting are actually good, that they'll be happy with?
Quite simple. Order the samples from different suppliers, compare them, ask them for their spec sheets. There's different materials, right? Know what your specs is and then use as a benchmark to test. So buy the samples, have it on hand and try it for yourself, and make sure that the experience that you're experiencing is exactly what you're promising your end customers.
There's some high ROI customizations that you have seen people do.
The lowest hanging fruit is two things. One is your site experience. You want to make sure that it looks just like every other well-kept brand. It doesn't look like a simple dropshipping theme that you get off Shopify for free or for $29. So make sure that is well done. And then the next thing is the unboxing experience. That's very low-hanging fruit. So better boxes, better branding on the boxes, and then better customer support for any feedbacks and responses.
You work with a lot of e-commerce brands and dropshipping people. What's like a typical profit margin?
We have some customers that are selling stuff for about $20 to $30. So their net profit margin, like what they take home, will probably be around 10 to 15% because you have to account for Facebook costs and other operating costs. And those are typically pretty standard, around 20-30% of your revenue. If you were to sell at a higher price point and you're able to build a much more optimized funnel, then your margin expands drastically. So some of our customers are selling items at about 100, have a very good premium brand. Their margins are around 30-40%.
So if you're starting dropshipping today, what are some things that you would do that you don't think other people know to do?
To try to hit a different geographic. A lot of times things are quite saturated in what we call the big three countries, which is US, Canada, and Australia. But some of our biggest sellers are actually from the EU. They're selling products that people in the US wouldn't even sell because it's so tapped out here. But they just switch the region to EU and it's like all over again.
What do you think about dropshipping in general? Is it still alive or is it dead?
I think it's still very much alive, but it definitely weed out a lot of people who are just in it for the quick money and expecting to do the bare minimum. Things got a lot bit harder, consumers a lot smarter, and so you really have to pay a lot more attention to your brand, to your supply chain, to your marketing compared to 4 or 5 years ago when dropshipping was the thing.
When someone's starting out, I feel like a lot of them, they'll go to to AliExpress or Alibaba or whatever to find a supplier. What's the difference between doing that versus using someone like you?
So AliExpress and Alibaba are actually US interfacing platform, which means that their pricing, their lingo, and their wordings are all going for acquiring US customers. The downside to that is they typically have a much higher markup compared to what you get in China. If you were to get this coaster from AliExpress or Alibaba, maybe this is $1. But if you go to our internal sites or internal network, you might get this for 60 cents. That's just the difference between US pricing and Chinese pricing.
Okay.
And so oftentimes people might use AliExpress and Alibaba as a starting point to figure out more information about the product, more information about the supplier. But at the end of the day, if they were to build their business to scale, they will want a partner like us or some of our people in the same space. What we do here, one, saves you a lot of money on your margins because we negotiate for you. Number two is we're able to take our volume across all our clients to get better shipping rates for you. And the third thing is we're able to create an experience that you just can't create by dropshipping through AliExpress. And that unboxing experience leads to less chargeback, less complaints, better reviews for you, which in turn would lead to better retention.
So there you have it, asking dropshipping millionaires for their advice. Honestly, the people we talked to were super inspirational. They're doing so much at such a young age, and it really did light a fire in me. Hopefully you guys got some practical advice that you can implement. And also thank you so much to our guests. You guys can find their information down below in the description. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure to hit that like button and also subscribe for more content just like this. I make a ton of videos about personal finance, entrepreneurship, and investing. All right, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.